So hi everyone, now let's understand about for loop in Python. And before going ahead with the loop, let's see how does Python executes its line when there is a no loop or no function in a normal way. So if you look at our execution happens from top to bottom. So do you see when we executed first line, it printed out this statement. So whatever the instructions will give in these lines, so those lines will be executed from top to bottom. So that's how Python normally executes different lines of code. So now let's see what happens when we execute a for loop. So let's see its execution. Do you see when we have executed our first line? So this is a iterable. So in for loop could run on any iterator and or any iterable. So what is a iterator and what is a iterable we will understand later on. But for now, for your bit of your clarity that what is a iterable we have seen in the past videos also. So any sequence like list, tuple, strings will be the iterable. Sets are also iterable. So, and there are many objects which are iterator or iterable. So any container kind of a object will be a iterable. So we can run a for loop on those objects. So right now I'm using a list. Do you see the moment I have executed a first line, this I variable, if you look at it in the memory, is referring to 1, and this one is the first item of the iterable on which we are running of our for loop. Now let's execute our second line, and now let's execute our third line. So do you see the moment our third line has executed because that was the last line in our loop, we went back to our first line, and now let's execute the second loop. And you see the moment we have executed our this line in the second instance of our loop, our this I variable has changed now to the second item. Now let's execute this. Now we have executed this instruction, and now we have again went back, and now when I'll execute this the third time in the loop, now this I is referring now to the value 3. That's the third item, and again it went back. So that's how in a loop we run the same lines of code again and again, and every time this variable I, which is referring over here, in each instance of loop it will be taken over to the next and next and next items, or whatever the iterable or iterator we are running on this loop. And within these loops we can do many things. So I'll show you. Like first let me complete this loop. So do you see it will go up to the end of this iterable, and then after the last item this loop will be over and we will be exited out from this loop. Do you see? And now we have reached on the after this on the last item, and now it went back, but we have exited out because after that there is no item in this iterable or in this list. But let me do one thing. Now let's print it out this variable I, and let me instead of printing this way, let me use this ends, and instead of printing these items in a next line, just to make a change in this print function, make it so now everything will come after 1, this 2 will come with a semicolon and after a couple of spaces, and then in the end we will print whatever will be the value of the I. So let's run. So now do you see what's happened? And this is the value of this I. So even after completing this loop, this I variable did not destroy. Its value remained there, and whatever the value was the last item of this iterable, that value was assigned to this variable I, and it remained there with this 8th value in our memory. So we can utilize if there is a kind of requirement, but generally we don't do that, but just for the information that is. Now let's see that what are all the things we can do in this loop. So we can run any instruction between these loops. So let's create a let's say create two list. Now let's say I want to create two lists. From this list, one will contain the even item, second will contain the odd item. So let's create first this even item list. So first let's make it empty. Now let's create a odd item list. Let's make it empty. And now let's copy and paste this whole loop. And now let me do one thing. Let me create one more variable. Let's say j is equal to j. Let's say 22. So now with every loop, I want to change the value of j. So let's say j is equal to j plus 2. And then now what do I want to do? I want to put a if statement inside in this loop, and as I value will be defined in each loop, the each item of this particular iterable. So I'm gonna say if I modulo 2 is equal to 0, that means if its remainder is 0, then I will add this I even append I. Else if it is not, then I'll append this to odd append I. And now let's print j, and let's say and put it this way. Yeah, so now let's run this whole loop line by line. So first in the let me restart it first, so that let me lose all the variable whatever there was. Now let me run this particular loop. So first, after first line got executed, we have created this even list. Now we have created this odd empty list, and now we have gone inside in this loop. And in this loop, so do you see, the moment we have gone inside in this loop, now this I is referring after the first iteration of this loop to this variable 1 inside whatever is there in this iterable. And now if you'll see, now j value is 22. So when this line will be executed, now we have changed the value 22 to 24 in the memory. Now it is checking over here. Now I modulo 2. So now I value is 1. So will it give 0? No, it will not. It will give 1. I modulo 1. So because this condition will not get completed, so we exited out from this first if statement condition, and we went inside in the else condition. And now we will append this I value into this odd list, particular list. So you will see that the moment we have append this I, now we have append this value of I inside in this odd list. Now we went back in the loop. So that's what happens in the loop. So we went in this loop again. We run the same lines as until we complete this whole iterable. So now whenever this line get executed, now this I value will be referred to the whatever will be the second item. If you will see in the memory, now I is referring the second item. Now this j has become 26 from 24 because we have changed the value over here from this line. Then now again we are checking. Now I value is 2 over here. So now it will pass this condition, right? So now it went inside, and now we will append even with the value of I. So now I value, you see, sorry, not even value, in the even list we have added this 2. And now again we print j 26, and then we went in the loop, and then now again after this execution of this line, now I value will be 3. So now I value has changed to 3, and now again after this line j value has changed to 28, and then again we are making a check. So now it does not comply with this condition, so we came inside in the else. Now it has appended in the odd list to 3. Now we went back. So this way we will execute this whole loop, and it will go until the last item of this iterable, which is 8. So now we are, so this is the last item. Now I value has become 8. So you see it has reached up to over here. Now after this execution of this line, we will exit it out from this loop. So do you see we have exited out, this loop has ended. So that's how a loop runs, and that's how in this loop we can process many instructions. Only thing, loop process the same lines of code again and again as per the number of items in a iterable. On whatever the iterable we are running a loop, and this I variable will refer the next item in each loop. So that's the whole concept of a loop. So I hope this video has given you a bit idea about a loop, that what is a loop, and a bit idea that what we can do with a loop. So thank you guys, and we will gonna see in the next videos more about loop, like nested loop, break conditions, continue conditions in a loop. So please continue watching this video, and if you have liked this video, please don't forget to subscribe this channel and give it a thumbs up. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.